The dodecahedron. What, when, where, and why? What? A dodecahedron is a 12-sided object, typically comparable in size to a baseball. It features holes of varying sizes and nodules at the corners. I need not go further as others describe these much better than I. When? The crisis of the 3rd century saw the Roman Empire split into 3 separate entities from 235 to 284 CE. As a result, the whole empire very nearly fell. This included for a time the short-lived Gallic Empire from 260 to 274 CE. This period experienced austerity, hyperinflation, monetary instability, and currency debasement. Military expenses could consume up to 70% of total tax revenue. The Cyprian plague killed 10% of the population, decreasing troop numbers. Frequent barbarian invasions added to the turmoil. Droughts in Egypt and southern Europe led to grain shortages. Where? The maps show the maximum extent of the Gallic Empire in 263. The area in red encompasses all dodecahedrons found so far except for a cluster in Austria on the Danube at Carnuntum. This includes territory to the east of the Rhine and the region of Raetia. Bearing in mind there are none in Spain. This can be no coincidence. Investigating the use of an object significant enough to be crafted from bronze, which was known and utilized only by segments of the Celtic, Gallo-Roman population, and more often than not close to the navigable river network. Many of them have been found very close to forts, navigable rivers, and Roman roads. But not the rest of the Roman Empire, or anywhere else for that matter. To my mind, this precludes most of the suggestions made for its use as a candlestick, for example, would surely be found elsewhere in the Roman world, having been taken away as a souvenir or trophy. A dodecahedron was found with a staff close by amongst other things in a burial site in Krefeld, Gelb, Germany. Does this mean that they are associated in some way with each other? It could just be that person's favorite walking stick. I can, however, see the lure of this connection, though. I started this exercise with the intent of promoting a new exciting use for them, because it works extremely well, as I will explain below. But to be honest, it fails at the first hurdle. If my proposition is so good, why was it not taken up in the rest of the empire? I now believe that they were only ever made for the 15 years of the Gallic Empire, and is much more likely to have nautical or political roots as a device. However, no one knows. Experimental archaeology. Walk lightly and leave no trace. During this time, Lorica Hamata mail shirts, originally made by the Celts a few hundred years earlier, gradually replaced segmented armor due to cost easier production and maintenance. Traditionally, arms and armor were made in state factories called fabrici across the empire. The fragmentation of the empire likely disrupted supply lines, forcing local production at regional forts workshops and local entrepreneurs repairing armor. *1 There are documented finds referring to the recycling and repair of mail armor from Bonn in Germany. My experimental 4-in-1 armor, the bronze-colored row, is 2.7 mm welding rod. Very hard to work, just to prove the even high-grade steel is workable. Making my 4-in-1 mail armor. It is the perfect tool to make field repairs or to manufacture Lorica Hamata mail armor. I made a section of Lorica Hamata using my 3D printed dodecahedron as a template, and as plastic is not strong enough, made a replica out of wood. With 2 pairs of pliers and a pair of wire cutters, I made a section of chainmail 110 mm by 110 mm in one day, at my first attempt, using over 250 links. I don't have punched rings modern washers, so I used all butted links for this test piece. It would have come together quicker with solid punched rings. *2 It should have been alternate rows of solid punched rings washers with butted rings. The method I used is as follows. Select the size of hole on the dodecahedron closest to the dimension required. My dowel is 6 mm with a 2 mm hole through close to the end. Insert the dowel into a hole in the dodecahedron closest to be a good fit. Using a 30 cm length of wire 2 mm thick, just insert the wire or wires through the small 2 mm hole in the dowel. Hold the dodecahedron up close to the 2 mm hole and hook the wire around the closest nodule on the dodecahedron. You can use more than one wire at a time. Just hook the next wire around the next nodule, while holding the dowel still or fixed down. Rotate the dodecahedron with the other hand. The wire will coil around and produce a spring-like product. With practice, this will become tighter. Once the wire has been wound around the dowel, it can be cut free. Cut to form individual jump rings or links for armor. Once you have a couple of hundred cut, you can start making the mail. Twist open half of them to give yourself a head start. There are many YouTube videos on stitching mail and often mention the difficulty of keeping the mail still while attaching the rings. Assembly of the mail. Using the dodecahedron in much the same way as a darning mushroom or darning egg keeps your workpiece still, as the knobs on the dodecahedron catches the mail holding it still, making the stitching much easier, especially for a male coifhood. I fitted the dodecahedron to a pole and could walk standing or on the table without the pole. A staff was found with the dodecahedron found buried in Krefeld. This method is strong enough to win the tough steel. I tested with modern 2.7mm welding rod, which is very hard indeed. It is also fine enough to weld copper and precious metals for jewelry. This could be a precursor of the modern-day bench-mounted crank-handled mandrel jewelers used today to make jewelry jump rings, although I do not think the modern crank would be strong enough to work iron or steel. References: *1 Recycling and Repair on the Roman Frontier, a hoard of mail armor from Bonn. Published online by Cambridge University Press, the 10th of December 2024. https www.Cambridge Antiquity article Recycling and Repair on the Roman Frontier hoard of mail armor from Bonn *2 page 56. DeVries, Kelly Robert, Smith, Robert Douglas, the 1st of May, 2012. Medieval Military Technology, 2nd edition. University of Toronto Press. ISBN 978-1-4426-0499-5.